Like
That was faster than anything, and that OBS was a nightmare. Hey, anybody there? Let's see. It says a stream has started, so let's see. It's up in the chat. Okay. How's everybody doing? Is anybody there?
So this is currently a different stream than the one that we originally had, like, waitlisted.
What do you mean?
Like, there was one that says big changes for 2025, and so there was one scheduled for 12 o'clock, which is where people are waiting, and now there's a new one.
How I just linked to YouTube.
Yeah.
And it should have worked. Tell everybody in that chat to just see if there's another stream to look around. It looks like there's only one person in here, and that might be you, actually.
Yeah.
Is that you? Okay. Can we go over to that one somehow?
You tell me.
Because I selected it. I selected the same one.
Here we go.
Thomas is here. Okay, so somebody's coming in.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, just tell everybody to move over. Hey, Thomas, did you just find this just now, or have you been waiting for the last 30 minutes? Because we have had software problems galore. Oh my God, it was quite challenging. Let's get a few more people in. Oh, 10 people are in here. Okay, guys, we finally got it figured out. So hopefully everybody's doing well. We had a lot of software problems. OBS just was not working for us, and I had to go download and pay for a new software, which is Restream, and just get it going as fast as possible in the end. So it's good to be on the call. Welcome, everybody. We're just letting more people catch up. We're letting everybody know in the chat right now that we've moved over, that there's another link to look for. So people are doing that right now.
Just let the comment.
Awesome. Thanks, Thomas. I appreciate the feedback. And so that just give everybody like a minute or two and just kind of hang out for a bit. How's everybody doing? How's everybody enjoying their Saturday? And where you at in the world? Kind of let us know. Okay, I just saw the notification. I just got the notification. Awesome. 15, it's growing fast. Good job, guys. Thank you for being so patient. I really appreciate it. Just go ahead and pop some just random comments in the chat. Let me know where you're at in the world. And we'll chat for a second while this number grows. Legend in the game. Young villain. Nice. Thanks, buddy. And then Glenn is part of the team. Glenn's sitting here right now. He's you see him in there. He just commented. He's going to be helping out a lot with YouTube, so we can make YouTube a lot better. We'll explain some of that here in a little bit. I'm just letting the crowd grow and getting this completely straightened out as more people log in. We got one person from Norway and one person from Minnesota. That's they're both frigid. I am actually Norwegian, and a lot of Minnesotans are Norwegians, actually. There's a ton of Norwegians in Minnesota. I'm part Norwegian, and my father's from Minnesota. Oh, and we got France in the house. Nice.
Big European crowd today.
Mm-hmm. Hey, London, how you doing? I tried to put it at a time when I could talk to everybody. Well, I'm in Tulum, Mexico. London is a big, well, it's not big. It's just a lot. I mean, there's a lot to London. People everywhere. It's so crowded. And last time I was there, I went to the Shard. I'd been to London a bunch of times, but never been to that Shard. That thing was fascinating. It was super cool. Definitely want to go back and visit that again. Okay. What else we got? Zambia. Nice. You're on a lot of my calls Sunday. So it's good to have you here. I really appreciate it. Lorenzo, what's up, buddy? From Germany. I got a lot of German clients, or Austrian German. South Africa. Okay, we're up to 21. We are way late today. I'm sorry about getting started. So late. It was just so many problems with the OBS software. I finally had to shut it down and I paid for this software just now and set it up really fast to get everything started. Because it just wasn't going. But yeah, we're going from here. Married with kids, yet still follow you, Brian. Yeah, we have a lot of married clients. That's partly, Corey, why there's kind of a change in the branding. As I was getting older, I wasn't really didn't care as much about picking up women, but really connecting deeply with women. And a lot of my work works for married men. I get married men and women contacting me all the time, telling me how it's changed their marriages, changed their relationships, saved their marriages, kept them from getting a divorce. And I realized I'm not teaching guys to pick up girls. I'm teaching guys how to connect and relate to women better and let them in. So that's where a lot of the work has gone over the years, is how do you connect deeper for guys that want to meet a woman? Like, I don't even like thinking about it as approaching anymore. What you're really doing out there, guys, is you're just starting conversations with human beings and connecting with them at a deep level. You know, if you learn to go out and just socialize, truly meet people and make them smile, you're going to get dates. If you truly do it from an embodied perspective, and if you make everybody smile, women are going to notice. They're going to love you, man. And that's actually what it boils down to, is that naturals are out there talking to people all the time. You can hunt women, or you can just be a social guy that attracts women. And there's a big difference between those two. Good timing for you. Yeah, that's the whole idea. Make it as easy as possible for different people to get in here. Happy New Year. Yeah, that's right. Serbia. I've always wanted to go to Serbia. Maybe I'll make a stop by there on my next trip to Eastern Europe. But welcome, Igor. Serbia is awesome, I'm sure. You definitely have beautiful women. I know that. And but yeah, learning to not approach, but just let people in everywhere, and it just becomes so natural. You just starting conversations. When you're really feeling good, it's almost like awkward not to start a conversation when you're standing next to a beautiful woman sometimes, because they can feel you. Or go deeper with your wife or your girlfriend. Or, I mean, the question is can we make that relationship feel new for the rest of our lives? So it's new and exciting all the time. And I believe you can, when you really get the right person and you keep going deeper. I have several friends who were players, right? Zan Perrion being one, and Hans another, and they would meet woman after woman after woman, and both of them said, "I'm never going to be married. I love women too much." And both of them are now married, and I'm talking about super happily. Like they're like, I don't even think about other women anymore. They both met their wife and just stopped instantly. It was like an instant thing. Who is this woman? And suddenly they stopped caring about other women, dating other women. They still love other women. They still see other women, both of them, but they cherish their wife so much that that's where they want to be. What did you write there? Zan said the only place he spent more time fighting dudes off than hitting on women was Serbia. That's funny. I'll ask him about that next time I see him. Yeah, I don't know if you're told. Yeah, we're taking suggestions. So Glenn's on here because he went through all the messages you guys sent on that last video. And he compiled a spreadsheet and a list of all the stuff that you guys are interested in and learning about. And I want him to talk about it a little bit, what he's seeing in there, what's coming up. I want to see your comments about it. And so, yeah, definitely put in suggestions if you got any more. You know, the thing that I've done in the past that is so interesting is, well, it's not interesting, is I've done the more complex videos with women, and I could do more complex videos, but I'm kind of lazy. I'm really focused on my coaching business. So I put out the content also a lot of times at the last minute, just slap a video together, throw it up. I want the content to be real, personal, deep, unscripted, really do the deep work, not have this perfect list of things we got to go through. And that's 99% of the content on there. But because I'm on the road so much and because I'm doing so many things, I do the videos last minute. It hasn't allowed me for really to plan out some really cool videos with the women again, or do something really cool. I've just been busy. And I want to get back to that stuff. And hey, when you say testimonials, CG, do you mean like speaking to a client that's grown and how his life has changed, having him live on a call? Is that what you're talking about? Let me know.
I have seen a number of people commenting stuff like that, be like, hey, we want to see more people, who've done the work, who you've worked with, who've made measurable changes in their life.
Okay. Yeah. That would be awesome. I could get a group on there. We could have a whole round table. Now, for you guys, I think that's an amazing thing to see people change. It's not a big, it's really, again, it follows that deep work kind of thing, because a lot of what I do doesn't attract a lot of new subscribers. I mean, if I wanted to attract a lot of new subscribers, I would be talking red pill. I would be grabbing celebrities that are in the middle of a drama and commenting on what they did. And I would be commenting on some other YouTuber's video and then getting him to comment on me and go back and forth, which I've had YouTubers try to do. But I just don't do that. Talking to a client that's done really well is great for you guys. It doesn't get me extra views because nobody knows who he is. He doesn't have a YouTube channel, you know, that type of thing. But I'd be glad to do that. That's the type of stuff I actually like to do because I think it's the more valuable stuff. Somebody who's really waking up. Hey, Atomic, good to have you, man. Yeah, Robert Glover. I'm going to be hanging out with him in a couple weeks out here in Playa del Carmen in Mexico. We're going to be speaking at one of his events, and then we're going to be speaking together or hanging out together up in Japan at another event my buddy's putting on for business coaches. So it's going to be a Robert Glover a few months for me hanging out with him. And I go to this big event every year in Japan. That's all business entrepreneurs that are really successful. And it's so much fun. We ski during the day. And so sometimes I think with you guys, like if I got around to really filming all the places I go and the things I do, it'd probably be interesting. But again, I get a little lazy. I don't want to carry a camera everywhere I go. I don't want to film everything I do. I want to enjoy it, you know, and if you're constantly filming and editing and filming, you're not enjoying it. So, thank you, Igor. Did I give out the deep and useful knowledge? And one of the things I do, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I just don't focus on the drama. I don't get into it. When somebody does a negative video about me and tries to attack me and wants me to attack him so he can get more of my subscribers, and then we would go back and forth 4 or 5 times. That's a business model, right? You get a YouTuber that's got a ton of followers, and if his channel is based on attacking people, and then you fight back, you get followers back and forth, but you don't get the right type of followers. What it does is it gets a bunch of followers that want to fight and have drama, not followers that want to grow. And I'm only interested in really working with people that are ready to wake up and live in courage and above. And so I just don't partake in those conversations. If somebody wants to have an authentic conversation and disagree with me, but without calling names and trying to insult, sure, we can have that. That's great. But I'm not going to do that. Awesome. So Nicholas, good. Thank you for that, man. It's great. So let me tell you a little bit about what's going on now that we've got everybody in here. We got 40 of you. So the Fearless Man is moving over. It's going to be a new name, right? Maybe I'll just call it Brian Bajan's Coaching for Men for now or something like that. We got to come up with a new name for the channel. If you guys got ideas, post it in the comments or post it in here. So Glenn can track it. But I do have more content coming out. So the Fearless Man is moving over. Fearless Man is going to be taken over by Dave Stoltz. That's my old business partner. I gave him the website. I gave it to him a couple of days ago. I don't even have access to it anymore. So if you see stuff coming out on there, just remember none of that's me. I've got all the products. We've shut down the selling of the products, and I'm going to create a whole new business around Brian Bajan coaching. Now, the Brian Bajan coaching model is not going to be just for men, and it's not going to be just about men. This channel will be. That coaching model will be working with everybody and anybody, men, women, it doesn't matter. We're going to be helping people live their best lives. What I call living from flow, living in feeling and living in focused feeling. And learning to wake up ready to seize the day and be free. See, all humans are ultimately chasing freedom. We want to wake up, we want to be free, but we just don't know how to do it. And when you hit the level of courage on the emotional scale, as a lot of you guys know, releasing, that's when you begin to get your first experience of true freedom. And you go from true courage to true freedom. And as you go up that scale to beingness, to peace, you get more and more freedom. The world affects you less and less. The less the world pulls on you with your attachments and your aversions, you end up able to create what you want in the world. You become more of a creator. The more you're attached to your outcomes, and I don't mean you can't choose an outcome and go for an outcome and enjoy creating an outcome, meeting beautiful women, traveling the world. It just means the more you're attached to it, I've got to have it to be happy, the harder it is to create. The more difficult it is. The less attached you are, matter of fact, to the point of total freedom from it. Like it's this never has to even be created. I just enjoy the idea of it. The more likely it'll just show up in your lap, and opportunities will show up everywhere. And this new channel is really about that. It's about setting you free so that when you go to focus on your world for you guys as with women, it's so much easier. As I've been running my 6-month groups, I've been running real intensive private 6-month groups with a lot of private clients. I have one core problem, and I've talked about it on the channel, but I feel like I need to talk about it every week. If I did a video on that every week, that could be the channel. And that's getting you guys out of wanting and forcing, wanting, pushing, have to, those energies right there, and end up and encourage and above. That's it. When you guys start living your life from courage and above, and you're no longer pushing and forcing and yanking on your life to create the life you want, it's amazing how much easier life is. Things you've been chasing for years seem to fall into your lap. You've been pushing to get women, and suddenly women start showing up. But if you're inside averse to women, pushing on women, pulling on women, like inside on one side, you want the women really bad. I've got to get them. And on the inside, you're like, I don't know, maybe. And you're just kind of holding back, and you're like, there's a little part of you deep down inside that really doesn't want the women. And so many of the students have that, then it becomes really hard to get them. So I get students that come into those classes and they're like, I got all these goals and I've got to get them now, and I've got to get them to be happy. And one of the most powerful things I can do is almost stop them from chasing the goals for a bit and learn to be happy now. Like, love your life just the way it is. Like, it's a superpower to say, I don't need life to change for me to be super fucking happy, to enjoy life. Doesn't mean my life's perfect, but I just enjoy it. And when you learn to really enjoy your life just the way it is, and I don't mean this fake bullshit happiness kind of stuff, the mindset kind of stuff where you gotta kind of lie to yourself, fake it till you make it. I mean, when you really learn to be happy in your bones, you start to relate to the world differently. This goal of getting women, because it doesn't mean the goal of getting women will be fixed instantly, but suddenly the way to fix it is 1,000 times easier, because I don't need the women to be happy. Well, if I do this, this, and this, I can start to process my sadness, my grief, my anger, because you can feel your sadness and grief and still stay fairly happy. You're like, yeah, I'm sad, and I can handle it. That's where in the 6-month groups, that's where I'm helping guys to go. I'm helping them to get that mindset. And what I realize is that everybody needs that mindset, not just men with dating. People with life need that mindset. And so the new channel, the new content is going to be largely about that. We've got a new YouTube coming out. It's going to be for everybody. This YouTube will stay for you guys. I'll have a Rumble coming out. And then the new YouTube is going to be a lot of podcast interviews too, with really successful people that are basically creating the life the way they want. It's demonstrating how these people, men and women, go out and create these amazing lives through deep discussions about how they do it. There'll be an Instagram. We'll probably launch a TikTok, see if that goes. I don't know if I really want to keep the TikTok, but we'll see. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And all of it's pretty much ready to launch right now. And so this channel is really for you guys, and it's a work in process. What are we creating here? And where do we go next? And I have a limited amount of time to shoot content, to be honest, with everything I'm building. I'm very busy building membership sites and redoing the banking, redoing the systems with building the new business. So, and then eventually by the end of the year, next year, we'll be relaunching the live events. I have one live event this year coming up in about a week and a half. It's going to be amazing. And then after that, I'll be launching, I'll be shutting them down until probably the end of the year, so I can build all the online products and membership stuff and really keep it tight and clean this time. And really professionally shot. A lot of the new social media is very professionally shot, so it's going to be completely different than the old stuff. No, I've not heard of Be Something Wonderful. I'll have to check that out if it's something good you think I would like. And that's an interesting question. Should I isolate myself? When my friends get in relationships, what should I do about it? Well, that's the whole point, is you don't want to isolate yourself. You want to learn to be happy for your friends. That's where the healing is. I wanted to learn to be happy for my mother, even though she was never happy. like learn to love her, and she would trigger the shit out of me more than any human being on the planet. And I reached a point where she couldn't trigger me anymore, and I'd take her out to lunch and laugh with her and have a great day. But my sisters couldn't understand how I did it. It's about getting in there and doing the deep work. You have to choose not to run away, but to be happy with your life the way it is. When that happens, the opportunity to change starts to show in that area. The reason you're triggered is because you got so much unresolved grief around relationships, and that's the same reason you're pushing the relationships away. So let's go back to, I know this is all over the place a little bit, but that's kind of what this call's about. It's just this random conversation. I am ready to help you guys get to the next level. So what I was saying is, I don't know that I can stop to do the deep all the stuff you guys want to do, but I'm going to do the best I can to organize shoot times where we're going to sit down and shoot some good videos, maybe with women, maybe some meditation videos, releasing videos. I may even go to the studio in Austin, Texas, where I shot the last 6 months worth of content for the new business, and shoot some content for you guys too. Once we see what you guys really want, and we're getting an idea of that now, then we can really start to take that seriously and start to schedule stuff out ahead of time, rather than me shooting it last minute with walking around with a camera around different cities that I'm in and stuff like that, which is cool. But I do all that really quickly in between my busy days and weeks. As the company gets solidified over the next year, 6 months, I'll have more and more time to shoot and more time to plan stuff out. Once all the membership sites are in place and all the systems are in place, the whole idea is to stay in my zone of genius, which is creating content for you guys, creating content for my new business, and then working with clients and getting other people to take care of the rest. And that's what I'm working towards. So that'll allow me to be more playful with all this stuff. Again, I don't see myself as a dating coach anymore. I see myself as a consciousness coach, men's consciousness coach, helping people wake up, an embodiment coach, because when you work at that core level of learning to have peace and joy and love in your life, your life takes care of itself. Now, how do I know this? I've seen it on client after client. I've seen it in my life. My life was a mess, and now I just kind of travel the world, live where I want. I gave up my home in Montana, and I've just been living on the road, and I decided to stay in Tulum for 3 months. I'll probably I'm looking at back to Medellin next, and then I'm going to be off to Japan for a big event with all the business people, snowboarding and skiing all week in Japan and the powder. And then who knows from there? And you guys will be along for the ride as I do that. I'll talk about it. So the live events won't start again till the end of next year. I've got one going right now that's going to be starting on the 13th. It's a high-end live event of deep embodiment work. There's only 6 clients in there right now, and I only wanted 6, and I opened the door to a possible 7th, but it hasn't worked out. So if somebody wants that slot, we can talk about it. But honestly, it's an all-inclusive event, from being on next to one of the most beautiful beaches in the world, to a giant cenote in the back, which is like a big pool of water that you can kayak on, to having these creatures that look like lemurs crawling all around, to being in an event space that looks like a tree house, and everybody gets a huge private room. And we wake up to the sun at the beach, and you go out to the back, and then the food's catered, big meals every day. It's gorgeous here. So just let you guys know, but there's only one spot left for that. And we're very picky about who we let in if we're going to spend a week with you. I'm fine with just keeping it at 6. That's what I usually keep these more exclusive events at, is 6 anyways. I don't like to go much above that anymore. I used to do up to 12, and I've cut them down to 6 just so I can give a lot of personal attention. Okay. So with all that said, what I want to do next, let me read this comment here, and then I'm going to jump in here with Glenn for a moment. Atomic here. Okay, Atomic. I related to the should you work hard on focusing on emotions question. I'd recommend to keep steady routine, health habits. Yeah, you got to stay steady, consistency. Read the book, The Slight Edge. That's the key to all success. Pushing really hard can burn people out. And if you're not built for pushing, some people are. Some people are really built and they love to push, but they have a lot of courage in their push, so they can do it. But for people that aren't, It can be really destructive. Cortisol production goes through the roof. How to work on your habits and not simply to gain your desires. Yes. Secretly, that is going to be the whole new business model. So you're going to see that in here, but you're going to see that all over the new YouTube channel and the new Instagram. And you're going to see content like that coming out like crazy. All the people I interview are living that way. So I'm going to be doing podcast interviews every couple of weeks, and you're going to see all those people are living from that space of being. And it's going to be absolutely amazing. So, okay. So I want to talk to Glenn for a minute. Hey Sliker, what's up, dude? Are you back in Medellin? Are you living in Medellin now? Because you said you weren't in Medellin last time I was there. So awesome if you are. It'd be cool to see you, meet you in person. So what I want to do is dive into these comments, dive into what's going on, Glenn. And by the way, Glenn was a client. Do you mind my sharing, Glenn?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, Glenn was a client. He did a lot of work with me. Glenn was very much stuck in his head like I was. And it was very difficult to get him out of it because he did not want to come out. How difficult can being in your head be?
To be in my head?
How difficult to get? How difficult is it to get out of being?
To get out, very difficult.
For you, everybody's a little
very difficult. Yeah, because I think I got pretty good at it. I could do a lot of things to get me through my day-to-day life while being stuck in this very analytical space, and I maybe even had a lot of pride around that. And it took a long time for me to kind of relax and allow other parts of my body to step in and not always try and be so hyper analytical about everything I was trying to do with my life.
Yeah, and I remember I would show you all this stuff, and I remember teaching you tons of stuff, and you would still do it all from your head. And I was like, wow. And I see this a lot with clients, and I saw that with myself. My teacher yelled at me for 4 years about it, is that I would take a perfectly good principle that should move you into feeling, and I would find a way to do it analytically. And I would be like, no, I'm feeling. What are you talking about? He's like, you're not feeling. And I'm like, I'm feeling. And I was completely lying to myself. And he would point it out on camera, and I would see it, and I'd get mad. And this went on and on for a while until I broke free. Now, when you came to my Big Sky event, which was not too long ago,
July.
That's when you had your big breakthrough.
I would say so. That's when stuff's really a lot of the walls started to crack down, and I could move more from feeling and less trying to think about what I'm supposed to be feeling.
Yeah. And that's the big piece, is because the head leads the show from a lot of men that are on this channel. And what I'm finding, or what I know, is that you need to lead from the heart, and you need to lead from the stomach and the head should be secondary. The head holds the idea of what you want to accomplish, but it shouldn't be calculating all the moves and telling you how to do them. Are you able to relate to that, what I just said there?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's wild as you start to become more embodied and play around with your feelings more. I can feel that sense of if my head is doing everything that my body's trying to do, versus if I can let this to relax and move more off of, where am I getting intuitive hits from my gut? Where am I feeling, my passions being drawn more towards from my heart? And then the head is less like this supercomputer that's trying to figure everything out, and more about just holding that focus of like, okay, this is the end goal that we're working toward. And then the rest of my body is sort of like helping me guide towards where we're trying to get there.
Yeah. And so the next question I have based on that was beautifully said. How much has your joy increased in life?
Quite a bit, man. I was going to tell you in like one of our calls, like, I'm starting to I've always loved movies. I love like watching TV shows with really good stories. And I find myself just like tearing up more often when I'm watching a movie that really connects with me, or I got a bit of a soft spot for pro wrestling. And so even sometimes watching some of these stories play out, I'm like, oh man, like something just grips you differently.
Yeah. And I experienced the same thing, not for pro wrestling, but I've experienced the same thing where I started to cry more and more. And I remember thinking that was weird back when, kind of weird. Do you know who Michael Beckwith is?
I don't think so.
He was in The Secret. He's a minister at a alternative kind of church. And he used to steal car stereos or cars. I can't remember. He was a thief and he was a criminal. And then he became a pastor and cleaned up his life and started healing and became a very conscious human being. And in the process of doing that, he said, I reached a point where I had been waking up a lot, and every day I would cry. I'd get up in the morning, and he says, there was no particular reason. My body was just unwinding all the trauma, the pain, the rejection, the abandonment, everything that he ever felt. And he was becoming more and more present at the time. And that's probably why he became the big pastor that he is. And I remember having these moments where I would just see a mom hug a baby and I would cry, and just a little few tears. It's not like bawling or nothing. And it's just a sense of a release, and it feels so good at the same time. And yeah, I think it's interesting you're having that for pro wrestling, though. Yeah. That's the first I've heard that.
Pro wrestling's great, man.
Yeah, you and I remember Chris back in the day. You too with your pro wrestling.
Yeah. Shivam's huge on it too. He and I are texting each other all the time when the shows come out.
Who is it? Say
Shivam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Shivam, the most unlikely pro wrestling guy. Awesome. Okay, so you guys are getting a feeling, and so by the way, the movement workshop, the movement event where we do deep embodiment, the one you just did in Big Sky, to me that's the flagship event for this company. That's a 6-day event for people that are ready for it, of deep and very small group, deep intense work to get into your body. And for people that are, whenever they're stuck, that's the event I want to get people into, when they're really stuck and nothing's working. Can you comment on your experience with movement? Because a lot of people, I tell them over the camera, some people get it, some people don't, but until they get into that event, some people don't really get it. And it's very different than just doing yoga or just doing stretching, because it's really not about movement, is it? What is it about for you?
Yeah, it's like a quantum leap. It's like a categorical shift in how you approach this stuff. Because I've been watching your channel for a couple of years before we did that event. I've been working with you a little bit, and I'm banking all these things that you're telling me about releasing and embodiment and doing this kind of stuff. And it's having some effect, but it's not really sinking in deep the way that it was, that you're sort of intending to. It's like you hear somebody say something 100 times, and then it's not until the 101st where it really like connects in the way that you always intended for it to connect.
Yes. Yeah. And I find that some people change their life radically just from the YouTube channel. Some people get on the YouTube channel and they send me messages and, oh my God, everything in my life changed. Those people usually have some degree of feeling already.
Yeah.
The people that really need the movement event were like me, or like you, just so locked in our heads from, for my case, trauma. Bipolar mom, sociopathic stepfather. I was in a prison I put myself in to protect myself from all the violence in the household, and I didn't know how to come out. So I needed a teacher who busted me open. So the question I'd have from you, Glenn, and it's just now coming to me, this question, and you may not be able to answer it right now, but I just want you to think about it. How could I convey more of this online, what I teach in that event? And how could I get more, whether it's an online long-term program or whether it's something I can put tidbits on the YouTube channel, to get people that are really stuck to have some breakthroughs, or at least start moving in the right direction.
I think for me, it was starting to have some like small breadcrumbs, because it is like a categorically different way of moving. It's not like any other kind of skill that I just plug into my brain and operate more from. It's like I really needed to slow that part of me down to become more sensitive to the other parts of what was going on. It's kind of like with any skill. Like you start doing something and you're totally new to it. Your brain's like looking for stimuli. And then as you can relax into it, you get more repetitions. The subtleties start to become a lot more obvious, serious. So for people who are starting like where I'm at, we really need to start out with just like really basic stuff about just learning how to slow down. And like for me, I hold a lot of stress in like my jaw and my neck. So even just not even trying to do anything with it, trying to fix it, just like learning to sit with that sensation more and become more conscious about like, okay, I've got tension in my neck, or I've got feeling in my gut, or I've got this or whatever going on in my body, and getting to a place where I can let that start to tell me more about stuff before I start to like think this is a problem, so I need to fix it.
Yes. And so let's play with that idea. Like, how much does a particular area for you, when you, like, say you go into the shoulders and they're really tight, and they just feel like like nothingness, and you're moving them. Like,
Right.
I don't know what Brian's talking about. He's
Mhm.
crazy. You're moving them. And then eventually, maybe not that day, maybe it's a week later, of micro explorations of
Mhm.
feeling, super micro, a world starts to open, at least
Yeah.
for, and I've seen this so many times, a world of sensations and feelings and connectivity, not just in the shoulders, but the shoulders into different parts of the body and through the fascial system start to turn on. And this awareness starts to build of, wow, I've never felt that before. Never noticed that before. I've
Yeah.
never noticed that. And it just starts expanding. And when you think you're at the, wow, this is really subtle, then suddenly it goes deeper and the subtle becomes more obvious. And then it goes deeper and that becomes more obvious. And this
Exactly.
ability to feel these tiny little things that are really affecting your overall energetic life. Have you had that experience?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like taking your life in like a microscope where maybe you're looking at a gray image and you zoom in and then you start to see the checkerboard of like the black and the white and the black
Yeah.
and the white. So like, in my places where maybe I'd feel like, oh, there's tension here, there's muscles here. It's like, okay, I can feel that there's like a broad tension here, but there's like a specific little spots of tension that pick up more.
Hmm.
And as I move slightly with it, or if I hold an intention, or I can feel an emotion or a memory, and I can feel the sensation in my body is a lot more specific than it used to be, instead of just a broad, oh, this makes me upset or this stresses me out.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And until you've had that experience once or twice, it's hard to understand. When I go into an area that's really shut down, there was a time when I thought this is never going to change, or what's the point? I don't feel anything here. And now I know within a week, I'm going to be feeling so much there. Maybe it's even going to be emotionally overwhelming for a bit
Yeah.
if it's really shut down, which is also going to change the way I relate to the world. I left yoga years ago because yoga was just stretching to me, and exercise and pushing and forcing, and I'd get bits of waking up. Now when I go into yoga, because of all this work, I can feel so, I get so much pleasure out of the flow of energy through the body, because yoga to me is not exercise. Yoga to me is about channeling energy through different parts of the body. But if you can't feel those parts of the body, even the yoga sometimes walls people. I've seen people get more numb from yoga, even meditation. I've seen people shut off their emotional body for meditation, disassociating from their body and going into alternate worlds to meditate, and numbing out their body when they lift weights, numbing out their bodies when they do yoga. Then there's people that turn on their bodies, like Arnold Schwarzenegger turned on his body more when he lifted weights, stuff like that. So this is the type of stuff I'm talking about. So really good share. Thank you. Now, what I want to do is I really want to take a look at what some people wrote. I want to have you guys comment in your comments. What are the categories that we got here that people are interested in growing this channel into? And guys, this is going to be a work in progress as I build everything out. I've got a lot to do. So it's going to be a slow, over this next 6 months, a year, as Glenn's going to manage it. Glenn's going to lead the show here. He's going to be in the background of the YouTube channel. So you guys just know that. He also has his own channel. Do you want to share it? Yeah, you do comedy stuff, right?
Yeah. So my main hustle, my day job, is I'm a voice actor, and a lot of the YouTube stuff I make is in relation to that. So I'll find usually just like funny memes or tweets on the internet, and I'll record myself reading them and make that into a video. I do a lot of short style content, so pops off a bit on TikTok and Instagram.
Nice. And do you want to share your channel?
Yeah, sure. I'll pop it in the chat here for anyone who's interested. That's where you can find the stuff that I work on.
And then there's
or
I'll come back to that. Yeah, I used to be a hypnotherapist. I get a lot of clients like you secretly, and I had to go deeper. Okay, his channel's in there. Yeah. You and Tyler Folse, man. Tyler Folse came on. He created his YouTube channel, and he blew that thing up fast.
Yeah, that guy's taken off like no creator I've ever seen before.
Yeah, he was another client that was completely in his head, stressed out, and he just now he just lives in peace and joy, and his whole life's up. And he built it. And he built this YouTube channel overnight. That's amazing. It's and so it's kind of cool to watch him. Okay, so let's go to these. Let's go into what are the areas that people are most interested in, and you guys are welcome to comment on these areas as you hear them. You might hear one. Wow, I didn't think about that. So let's feel free to comment, because we're tracking all this.
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to thank everybody for being so responsive for the video that we posted last week. I think for about every 10 views we got a comment on the video about people saying stuff about what they'd like to learn more about, what they're liking about the direction and advice for where we could go. So that's just incredibly valuable insights. But I took a lot of everything that you guys put out and I put it into a Google document and I started to like count different instances of like, similar things that people wanted to talk about. So Brian already talked about a couple things about like, a lot of you guys were saying you'd like to see more model work or you'd like to see Brian working with a student, help having somebody to kind of go through some of these exercises with, or directing, either Brian working directly with the student or Brian working with a model or Brian working with a model and a student. Guided releases, meditations. So anything where Brian would be taking us through a meditation or a releasing exercise or a body scan or some sort of embodiment exercise. Then a lot of great other specific ideas diving into more like specifics about like grounding. What is the use of grounding and how do we stay grounded in different places? Like it's one thing to be grounded if you're just sitting here meditating in peace. How do I practice grounding if I'm out in the open, if I'm, interacting with other people?
Mm.
And one question I thought was really interesting was when a person asked, "Okay, so I've been watching your stuff, Brian. If I'm doing the work, if I'm releasing, if I'm getting embodied, how do I then try to find the right woman for my life or someone who I'm going to connect with now that I'm built this foundation and I'm in a different space?" So I thought that was
I
a really
like this
interesting
question.
question. Yeah,
I
we got a
like
lot
this
of
question.
fantastic questions here.
Now, if I work with you, Glenn, and we plan these videos out a little bit, and maybe you come where I'm at or I go where you're at and we just shoot like a bunch of content in a month,
Yeah,
that could be a way to do it. And just if you're interested, and we could take a camera and I could easily go out into the real world and shoot stuff with models down,
for sure.
somewhere and all that stuff. It's just when I'm alone and I'm like traveling the world and I'm in another place and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh shit, I got to get a video out this week. It's Thursday
Mhm.
and it's got to be out by
Yeah.
Sunday. I do this all the time, guys. A lot of the videos you've been seeing lately, I shoot on Thursday. I send them to my editor, and we're creating thumbnails and everything by Sunday. And he's in Ukraine. Half the time his power's out due to the war,
Mhm.
and then I'm like, oh shit, okay. So let's go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of stuff about, especially at the start of the year, a lot of people are thinking about, setting goals, building their life. So a lot of questions around manifesting. How do I set goals effectively that's, in a good flow state, a good, like, so I'm not, shooting too high or low balling it, but then also working internally to say, how do I create the sense of self that sees myself as having already achieved my goal or talk to myself in a way as the guy who can go out and make that life that I want to make happen.
See, and that's a great one for a meditation because that takes a whole mental. You have to see the world through a different set of eyes to really get good at that. That Neville
Yeah.
Goddard kind of stuff. I often see the thing I'm doing happening long before it happens. And then it just shows up and it seems like, why wouldn't this happen? I've seen it so much. It's like the holodecks
Mhm.
built around me. And am I in Tulum or in Japan right now? Because I know I'm going to be in Japan, right?
Yeah.
And am I on the ski slope? I can feel the ski slopes below me. And every time I think about Japan, I feel lately I've been feeling my snowboard more than my skis. And I can feel the bumps and the moves. And I watch videos, and it's not like I'm watching videos to imagine being in Japan. I'm watching videos because I'm remembering the feeling now, like having the
Mhm.
experience energetically, like I just snowboarded today. It's not
Mhm.
like I'm going to snowboard.
Right.
And then when the image shows up, it's like, yeah, well, of course, and that could be a whole meditation. What is it to get out of the future and the past and really live in the
Mhm.
now, so that there is no future in the past? Because that's what creates, in a weird sort of way, I hate
Mhm.
to use this word, the future. So if anybody gets what I mean by that. So
Yeah.
did you want to add any more?
I mean, another thing that I was this wasn't something that necessarily people commented specifically, but I was extrapolating is like, if you could talk more about the contrasting of like, what is manifesting not? Because it's not like, oh, I just lay in my bed and I think about my dream life and it, magically materializes in my life. There's more stuff going on there. And like, yeah, how when you talk about, there are people who meditate, there are people who do yoga, who do a lot of spiritual practices, but still seem kind of stuck in my life when it sounds like they're
Mhm.
doing the work. So if you could talk more about like contrasting, okay, when are these people who say they're doing stuff, when are they actually getting it versus what's something that kind of looks like what you're teaching us to
Yeah.
do, but isn't really getting to the heart of it?
Well, I have a client, and you can probably relate to this. I was also like this. Right now, I always get one or two really stuck clients here at a time, 2, 3, and I've got 3 right now. I'm thinking of one that grows a lot. He just doesn't want to do the work, and 2 that get more stuck. The one that grows a lot, I make him earn work with me. So that's kind of the deal. If he does the work at home, he does what I tell him to do, then I'll do another private session with him, kind of thing. Because otherwise, that's because he'll do that for that reason, right? Otherwise, he'll just sit around and watch TV. And that's changing him, though. But every time he does the work, he changes. So he changes real easy. He's just resistant to his own change, to doing the work. Whereas the other guys work really hard, right? And they're like me. I worked really hard, and it took me forever to change. And when you get a client like that, and you were in that category, Glenn,
Yeah.
what happens is they think they're doing the work the way I lay it out, because they can't conceive of what it's like to live life without pushing want force. So they don't have a sense of what the now really feels like, or what courage really feels like. They've experienced it so little, so rarely, that it's foreign to them. So they're mimicking the behaviors in their head. That my teacher used to call it ego mimicry. Their ego is mimicking what it is to be in the now. I see it in one client, and he'll swear, "No, I'm in the now," and I'm like, "You're not in the now." Like, no, I know what that feels like. I'm there all the time. No, you're not. What do you mean I'm not? Like, you're not there right now. I'm not? No, you're not there right now. You're in a push, you're in force, you're in wanting. You don't know what the now feels like. And you've experienced it. Everybody's experienced it, but it's in these fleeting moments. For me, it was these micro fleeting moments. And when I started to really experience the now, it was overwhelming. There was tears, because there's a fight to go into it. When you first start to go into the now, the whole body fights it. The ego's fighting it, not the body. And it wants to stop. It does not want you to go there. Do you remember what that was like when I was pushing you in Big Sky, when I was pushing you into the now and moving you in the now? And do you remember the fight? What kind of fight was going on for you?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes my walls would just come up, or I'd go a little bit, and then if the tension was too great, then I just sort of resort back to my old way of being, because that's kind of where my comfort zone is. And so it's like, and sometimes that's the way it is a lot. You're working, and then you hit a spike, and it's like, okay, calm down, get back to your baseline, start slowly moving again. You hit another spike, the ego flares up, you get in the spins, slow it back down.
Ego flare-ups. I'm gonna put that in a book.
Yeah.
It's like a inflammation.
Mhm.
Yeah. Ego flare-up.
Yeah, and it compounds because you have this sense of, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be getting to. And if I'm doing something and maybe I make a sidestep, then I compound it by getting frustrated that, I'm not getting it. And then I get in my head about how I'm not getting it. And it creates this whole spiral. And then you have to just slow all that back down, let the ego go, let the thing go, and let it take as long as it does.
Oh, and this is why so many people have a hard time getting good in the pickup community, because the pickup community feeds the ego with technique. And technique does not work when flirting with women. You can't walk up to a woman and say the same shit over and over again with no feeling and expect the women to respond. If it works one time for you, you're going to be so excited, you're going to turn it into I'm going to say this exact thing every time, and then you're going to wonder why it stops working. Well, different woman, different emotions, different flow of energy, different wave. It's similar to a wave at the beach. You're trying to ride a wave at the beach, and you're riding. There's a certain volume, speed, wind speed as well. Wind coming at you. There's the angle of the board when you're standing on it. There's muscle tension in your own body, and all that has to be calibrated to ride that wave. Well, the next wave is going to have a different volume, a different size, different speed, and the next day and the next week, and you got to adjust constantly to the internal micro sensations in your body to be able to ride that next wave, because now the board's this much, or the board's you're going into a barrel, or you're going up on the crest and coming back down, or and you got to adjust your feet and the little muscles in your feet. You got to relax to the ankles. And it's the same thing with communication. When I say to you, hi, if I have no awareness of the body, everything emotional feeling is shut off. And I'm speaking literally from like a robot. I might as well just be speaking to an AI computer. And it just doesn't work. But if I'm completely feeling through the body and I receive her into my heart and feel emotions with her, I feel my stomach, my power with her, I feel my turn on with her, and should I let her see all that? And we ground into the ground together. That stuff really happens. And suddenly she's like, oh, a human being's in front of me, not a robot. And unfortunately, the pickup community creates robots. You know, and that's not to say that there are people who can get it to work. Those people have a certain level of feeling. Back in the early days of pickup, when I was around, because I'm much older now, you can tell these guys would come in and this guy can feel. He's just scared to approach women. You could give him anything. You could tell him to say all the wrong shit and shove him into a girl, and he'll make it work. You know, and here, say let's do this all backwards. Let's do this, and because he's present and he's feeling, he doesn't know any other way to be. Oh, girls like me, and he'll think, oh, it's because you taught me all this stuff. No, it's not. It's because you're naturally kind of grounded, and you just need somebody to push you. So, cool. So we got a lot of good stuff there. Do you guys want to comment on any of that? Is there anything else you need to add to that, Glenn?
No, man. We keep getting good stuff. You know, now that I'm accessing your channel, we continue to get comments on videos that are 3-4 years old with people sharing inside stories and stuff. So we've got this awesome hardcore community of guys who are doing the work and giving us lots of great data.
The funny thing about my channel, you guys may or may not know this. I started in 2014. I never perfected titles. I never perfected thumbnails. You guys can tell if you go look through it. I never tried to make a good YouTube channel. Not once for years. I didn't even think about how do you make a good YouTube channel. I just posted, I'd shoot a video. I started my first video. I remember when I did it. Ben was filming. I stood outside and we said, let's film a 3-minute video. Okay, filmed it. Let's film another one. Okay, filmed it. And he would just make up whatever title or thumbnail he wanted to make up, and we'd slap it up, and we did not study anything. And I did that for years. And it was only about last year that I said, hey, how does this YouTube stuff really work? And I started to study Daryl Eve stuff for the first time ever. And I'm like, wow, you can make a lot of money. It was only last year that I realized how much money you could make on YouTube too from AdSense. And I was like, geez, I've been leaving a lot of money on the table. And I was surprised I had this many followers considering how little I knew about YouTube. And I was looking at this and going, wow, I really just stumbled along for this many years. And so then I started to apply Daryl Eve stuff, which was a lot of work. I got to be honest. It was a lot of work scripting out videos. And then a couple of my videos started to really move. And I was like, wow, it moved a lot. But then I realized I didn't want to spend all week long building a video when I have clients to work with, when I have people to talk to. And I was like, so I cut it all out again. And now Glenn really loves that stuff. It's his zone of genius. It's his zone of genius, not mine.
Yeah, it's been super fun diving into all of the like deeper analytics and the granularities of what makes a really good YouTube channel and figuring out how the algorithm works, but still coming from a place where you're still showing up, being present, and creating the message that you have to create, and not just trying to become a robot that makes the YouTube robots happy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And yeah, that's why I love that you're doing it, because I see the excitement in your eyes. And I believe we should stay in our zone of genius. And okay, guys, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to read through some of your comments here. I went back a little bit, and we're going to see if we can add more to Glenn's list. We're also going to see if there's questions I can answer, and we're just going to have a little bit more fun here before we leave. I know we're all over the place, and it's kind of what I do. I really enjoyed your video about quantum physics. I forgot about that video. How about how thoughts and emotions? Yeah, awesome, Chris. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I haven't talked to Sam in a while. I should call him up. That dude was picking up women in their 20s when he was in his 60s. Oh my God, he's insane. He's now a singer-songwriter traveling to Nashville. He'll never stop, that guy. He's any good ways to gauge how in your head you are? Not really. That's a hard question to answer, because if you're gauging yourself, you know, you need somebody who's not in their head to give you feedback. Is the best way. If you get in video, like slow motion video, where we look at all your subcommunication, where you're moving, where your balance point of your body is, and I watch you and I watch you move, we can start to gauge that. If you're in a lot of fear and you're reactive, you're probably in your head a lot. Reactivity is a sure sign. People who are in fear but proactive, they're experiencing courage rather than fear. So I want to jump out of this plane. It scares me. I can't wait to approach that girl. I'm shaking. I got to talk to her. Courage. That's proactive. Reactive is, oh my God, don't make me do it. There's a pulling away, and the pulling away, let's say, is greater than 50% versus the moving forward. When you get the moving forward greater than 50%, you're like, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyways. She rejected me hard. I learned a lot. Now you're starting to get proactive. There's a sense of, I am going to step into this tension, this wave, and I'm going to ride it. I'm determined to face and ride the wave that's in front of me. There's a mountain I'm going to ski down. I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyways. And I'm going to handle it. Versus, oh my God, I have to do this. Oh, okay, I'll do it. And then you fall and tumble and you just tumble down the mountain because you really didn't want to do it. So reactivity, seeing yourself on video, gauging the energetic fields on video, having another teacher that's really present, guide you and give you honest feedback. So a lot of times they won't. They'll gaslight you because they don't want to get into a million questions and try to, oh God, he's just going to talk his head off, that type of stuff. So how can we handle the tension that comes out when we practice NoFap? The community is very interested in that. Yeah, that's an interesting. I did a video on it a while back. Maybe we should. Is that on the list? NoFap.
I didn't see any NoFap stuff, but there's plenty we can dig into there.
Okay, so we can add stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's easy. I get more embodied. I take all that energy that wants to build up in the turn on, and I channel it down the legs, up the spine, through the body. And anytime it builds up here, I run it up here and out into my field and back down until I can really feel it pumping through my body. And as soon as I get too horny, I do it again. As I get too horny. And then another way is to practice through edge control. You can actually, if you can handle it, do a mild amount of masturbation and not let yourself come, and then channel the energy up your spine. That's the ejaculation control. Learning to not ejaculate and still have orgasms by running them up your spine will give you a lot more of that ability. That's like Mantak Jia's book on the multi-orgasmic man, things like that. So check that out. David Data, I think, talks about it too in the Enlightened Sex Manual. I'm interested in releasing chronic tension in various parts of my body to live more authentically. Yes, as you release the chronic tension, you get into more feeling and more flow, and you start learning to I've now all my weightlifting and exercises done off of the whole kinetic chain into the ground and back up. So I move and feel everything. I use a lot of functional patterns principles in my own way, but I do it differently. I do a more what I would consider a more feeling based version of that, and I love it. But yeah, the more I'm always looking to get more chronic tension. Right now, my big area of working is up in the ears and the jaw, where wanting is created, and force and anxiety, and up into the throat and opening this, because this connects the head to the heart and really keeps you in feeling. So that I want to do I have never done a video on that, so I need to do a video on that. How to do this is great, Atomic. How to do how to stay grounded when you feel negative emotions, because it's easy to be grounded in positive emotions. Okay, so this would be a really interesting video if I had a helper, like if you were out there with me, Glenn. This is where I could go out and ground out in public, practice grounding, talk about grounding at the park or the coffee shop, and just have the camera going, and then walk around through crowds and ground and get into more noisy environments and talk about the idea of learning. You start with the easiest environment possible, and then you practice grounding under more and more tension, increasing your ability to do something, whether that's communication or just standing there. It doesn't matter whether that's walking, whether that's saying highs, whether that's doing approaches. It's about a progression and understanding how a progression is created. So a video on progressions for growing your grounding, your feeling, your heart. Also a video on all the subtleties, little micro subtleties you can practice when socializing and approaching. It really has to be socializing more than just approaching, because to practice them, you need to talk to a lot of people, and there may not be enough women around for you to get into. Like I've talked to up to 100, 400 people in a day, 100 people, 80 people. I was doing that for a while. And of course, beautiful women in there too. How do you feel your body through your day, especially grounding? And how do you do the deep work, the mechanism, or how do you change your inner pictures or beliefs? Okay. How do you do your deep work through your day, especially grounding? So we've got a lot of grounding questions, and that's really important. So we probably should do a little series on grounding or something. How do you do the deep work, the mechanism, or how to change your, inner pictures of beliefs? So how do you do a lot of deeper inner work? Maybe we should get around to creating a tension journal and sell it online, and a vulnerability journal and a flow journal, or like principles where it just guides them along in these processes right here. I love the deeper work for people online. Be really cool. I'd love to learn from you. How do you get self-reliant to the point where I will be able to pay for the events that I like? For example, your flagship course. Well, we're going to be doing an online course soon that's cheaper, and then we're going to have it, and then and when that one's solidified, that'll be a little cheaper than this one, and then there's going to be an even cheaper set of courses, and the lowest cost course hopefully will be around by the end of the year, or before. We got to build one out at a time. And so unfortunately, the higher priced courses are the easiest to build out and build the funds to build out the lower cost courses. Give you an example. If I want to teach 100 to 200 people in a room, that's a lot of people. The amount of logistics and work that goes in to teach that many people in a room is off the fucking charts. And it takes a lot of work, a lot of man hours, a lot of processing, a lot of this person needs a refund, this person needs a special, and then again, I get the room and the space. But if I host an event for 6 people that want to pay a lot of money, that want a lot of personal attention, way easier, way easier. But then when you get the funds from that, then I can build out the rest. So I can build more YouTube videos, do less expensive products for people that can't afford that. And then so in time, unfortunately, the more abundant you are, the easier it is. Now, for me, how I did it, I didn't have any money in the beginning, and I met my mentor, and I would go to his cheapest class. In my case, that would be like YouTube, like this. I'd go to his Wednesday night class, like $25, $35, and sit in there for a year or two, just taking the class and working on myself. And then I wanted to do his 15K program, and it had to be cash all up front, and I didn't have the money, didn't do it, did it once a year. And I had to wait a whole year because I didn't do it. My buddy told me, who was a really wealthy guy, he said, put $1,500 down, and if you have it, and then tell him to keep it if you don't do it, and then go get the rest, and you'll figure it out. And I said, no, I can't do that. I'll never do that. I've never done that before. Didn't do it. Next year, I still didn't have the money. So the next year I put $1,500 down, like he said, and I worked my ass off in my little business, which was not making any profit, and made 13.5, paid him off, and then went right back to just above broke, but did the 6-month course with him. So there is aspects of pushing yourself. Stress creates new realities. Tension creates new realities. You have to get out there and hustle. I had to do a lot of hustling and working hard and pushing myself under tension to grow into who I am today, to develop the ease of life I had today. Now, not everybody has to do that. I had to do that because I was so traumatized. I was shut off so bad. I was a mess. But I did it. Where there's a will, there's a way. If you keep focusing on the end result, I am doing this, show me the way, it eventually comes, whether it's a year, 2 years, sometimes it takes 3 years. I exercise. I think I had one, I didn't even do a whole goal on it. I love exercise. I had like a statement I would say over and over. It's in my phone. And I didn't even read it that much. That's why I can't remember it. I read it every week, 2 weeks, a week, a couple times a week. I'd kind of glance at it and meditate on it, release on it, and I'd let it go. And I'd release some more on it, let it go. 2 years later, one day, got up, went, started exercising, and I haven't stopped since. Now I exercise like a fucking fanatic. I love it. And up until then, I never wanted to exercise. And now it's just part of my daily life. It took hold in my subconscious mind. And that took me a little over 2 years probably for that one to take hold. But when it did take hold, it took hold. I'm so alpha male, I don't even make a move on chicks. I just chill. And if they want to bite, then yeah, I let them know if I'm getting bored with the talk and tell them, let's get to my place. Okay, cool. Good stuff, man. Can you force courage? You can, if you're at 51% courage and 49%, let's say, pride or anger, it'll feel like force. It'll feel like you're pushing through, you're using force like anger, but you're opening your heart and saying, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyways. And that'll feel good. But courage implies your heart is opening and you're feeling some vulnerability. So you need some vulnerability. Now, if you're 80% encouraged, it's going to feel fucking amazing. So I call that breaking through or punching through. It's you're punching through the anger and saying, I'm going to show up anyways, 100% with my heart open. That feels a little bit like force, but it actually feels like this fun, like I'm going to jump out of that plane. I can't wait to do it. Oh my God, I'm so excited to approach her. I'm nervous, that type of thing. Guided releases around self-doubt or inaction around goals. I'll be in the meditation retreat near Medellin over the next couple months. So, awesome, dude. Yeah, let me know. I'll definitely love to catch up with you, Slacker. I'll probably be there at the end of this, end of January or beginning of February. I'm gonna go hang out with this with somebody I really want to spend some more time with out there, and then go. My friend's also getting married. He lives in Medellin. He lives in Santa Elena. Drink some vodka and watch the Hulk come out. Awesome. Hey, Brian, how do you do the straw release to process emotions? I bought the revealing process, but I don't quite understand it. It's just imagery. If it doesn't work for you, use one of the other ones. You just imagine there's a straw, the idea is you can't release if your heart is bound and closed, if you're tightening here and you're not being vulnerable, which means feeling. That's all it means, is you're feeling your emotions. You can't release an emotion you haven't felt. So if you open just a hair and stick a straw in there, like imagine, it's just an imaginary to help the mind process. Imagine it's going through the wall into the emotions, and then just start letting the emotions come out slowly. Do not make it, because if you make it too big, it's going to feel like it's going to go into a fight. So just even a tiny straw, let a little bbit come out at a time. And over time, the straw should grow until the heart just feels like it's opening. You don't need it anymore. So that's basically the principle behind it. Drinking is not allowed in my religion. You don't need drinking. Drinking is such a waste of time. It's such a waste of time. I always tell guys when they're working with me not to drink when they go out. In the past, now I don't really go out to do the field work anymore because I kind of outgrown it. But I'm thinking about having some people around me that want to do it for you guys when you do take a workshop, because we do have an event with beautiful women where you guys learn to really gaze and work with beautiful women on a huge level. How do I meet more women organically? I'm a very busy person, but would like to date more. Well, that's a broad question. You got to just go out wherever women are, and you got to learn to talk to them. Talk to everybody, not just the women, people next to the women, people all around. Learn to let people in. The key to really meeting beautiful women is letting them in. And that is an abstract concept until it becomes literal. Once you get it, you realize it's not abstract at all. You're literally feeling them in your body, and they love the shit out of it. They lock right onto you. And it's really cool. And when I see a client that's never got that, finally get it, and a woman locks in on them, they're like, oh my God, she didn't want to stop talking to me. And I'm like, yep. And he's like, I've been doing it backwards all this time. Yep. You've been doing it exactly backwards. You've been doing that pride-based game, which requires, cockiness, fighting. And then usually those guys eventually let her in a little bit too. They just don't realize they do it. Do you believe there is a different energetic release from sex and masturbation? Yes. And sex can be toxic and sex can be beautiful. The question is what, if you're just banging away and you're completely in wanting and you're trying to get to sex to get validation, that's going to be a very different experience than sharing an expansion of energy and flow, and you could call it love, but you could call it passion. But you're sharing. There's a sharing energy, whether it's turn on, whether it's pleasure, whether it's that sharing energy you want to create, the explorative sharing energy, expand your energy, and you're giving to her and she's giving to you. That cycle's beautiful. Yep. Fear is a mind killer. I used to follow you in your channel like religion, but after doing some inner work and finding another manifesting channel, I find releasing an emotional work only creates more work and so on. Yeah, that's because you're releasing from wanting, JMac. That happens to a lot of people, and in almost every technique they do that, whether it's tapping or something else. They all start they're not doing releasing anymore. They're doing wanting. And they got to get out of that. That's very common when we turn a simple principle into a technique. And I see it all the time, not just in this. I see it in every kind of work out there. As soon as the person's mind latches onto the idea and they start to go into wanting a lot, they're actually not, because you can't release from wanting. You can only go into the spin, so you can only make the wanting worse, and that could be. Let's take a Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I had a friend that was in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and he was in wanting really bad in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and he was constantly pushing and trying to get get the opponent to tap out. So his coach, who happened to be one of the Gracies, private coach with him, gave him the assignment not to win for a year. And I've done this to people, like, do not win for a year, stop. And he said, you don't have to tap out if you can avoid it, but don't try to beat anybody for a year. So he said that was, at first it was horrible. He's like, oh my God, I can't get somebody to tap out for a year. And he said, then it became fun. He said, I became like a fish. Like, people could not choke me out, could not tap me out, could not get anything from me. They would comment. They'd say, he's like a fish. I can't get him. After a year of doing it, and he said, my teacher made me go a whole year. Then he said, now you can start working on and winning again. And he made him stop for a whole fucking year. And because he couldn't stop wanting, he was pushing and forcing. And I saw it in his personality. He had the personality of somebody that pushed his way to the top and burned himself out and took himself out all the time. That's why a lot of my work now is on getting people to stop pushing, stop forcing, stop chasing. You got to let life come. You got to learn to let life happen to you. It doesn't mean you don't take action. You just don't take action from wanting, chasing, and forcing. You learn to take action from a whole nother place of being. It's super powerful. That's the hardest realization for people to get. And I had to do a lot of work with Glenn on that. And sometimes changing the technique altogether, like you did, is the exact right thing. Because you've turned if your mind has now got neural pathways that have turned the technique into wanting, and it's just, they turn on like that, we got to do something different. I gave a student once the assignment not to release anything for a month and to go deep into everything. And he did it, and 2 or 3 weeks in, everything broke open and his whole life changed. His whole life changed on every level. Suddenly women were coming like crazy because he just went into this dark energy, because the wanting covers up the darkness. And he went down, 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 got super sad and felt all that pain, and processed it. And then it processed itself, really, because you don't have to release anything. It processes itself if you really do it right. And then you're really releasing the attachment. You're not releasing the emotion, and the emotion flows on its own. And then there's a big transmutation. So it's beautiful. So shifting like that can be a good thing too, when you're stuck on something. And I see people do it in every technique under the sun. It's, unfortunately, maybe I should create the stop wanting and forcing process, just to make it really blunt. Take your focus away from what you want. Yep, exactly. And a lot of people think they've done that, and they haven't. I see students all the time. No, I'm not wanting anymore. You're completely wanting. You can see it on them. It's like it drips off of them. I'm interested in letting go of wanting. Exactly. But not having. Well, you can't have until you let go of wanting. So, okay. Yeah, I have to. I was trying to figure out if you were. I don't know how to say your XICX. I didn't know earlier if you were trolling or you were being serious. But what you said here is actually very right. I'll put it up here. That's what they want you to think. Every animal has confidence. The nature of who you are is you're valuable. Period. There is no reason for value. You're good. Period. There's no reason for being. You don't need to be good at something to feel good about yourself. You don't need to have a reason to love yourself. That's the nature of consciousness. When you get all your ego out of the way, all that's left is love for yourself, for the world, for everybody around you. And when you realize that, you won't need to play this game. Like what he said here, every animal has confidence. At its core, animals aren't running around worrying about their day, worrying about their bank account, worrying about their next meal. They're just doing it. And you can live the same way in total trust. Matter of fact, you're designed to at a deep level. And then confidence becomes easy to develop. And that's a lot of what I'm working on with the new channel. When I'm fearful, I become angry, and that resets the courage flow. Yeah. So this is a really good point too. You put here, when you're fearful, If you step into the fear, it's called reaction formation. You get angry. And then if you step into the anger and open just even your heart a little bit and say, I'm going to do it anyways, because the anger will want to redirect itself. The anger will want to attack the person in front of you for making you angry, want to attack yourself. I fucked up. And you stop that. Don't let it do that and say, no, I'm going to use this anger to open up and face my own fear consciously. Then the anger moves up to courage. It goes from fear, jumps to anger, jumps to courage. Boom. And then acceptance. And that's it's a real fast process if you're good at it. Yep, that's true too. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, guys. So this was a really fun call. Is there anything you guys want to ask now that we're at the end of the call? We've been on it for a little over an hour, and we've just been sharing away. So jump in and ask your questions now because I just wanted to have some fun today. This is a super random call. It's all over the place. I loved it. We got some more data. And is there anything you want to ask or say, Glenn?
I don't think so. Well, a couple things that did come to mind is one thing that we could continue also do in this channel is we could, post occasional polls where maybe we'll have follow-up questions, be like, hey, we know you guys are looking for some guided releases. What kind of stuff do you want to, get some guided work on? Or, what's an area of this sort of practice that you find is to be a stumbling block or something?
Nice. I love that. Let's do that. Because the whole idea is eventually we will have the membership site where we're going to go even deeper into all this stuff too. But that's a little ways down the road. So we're going to be, and I always want to provide value to you guys on the YouTube channel. I'm a big believer in you can work with successful people, but you gotta always, it's really good to put out content for everybody that's free. It's really good to do that and not hold back. Just give them as much as they can handle. Sometimes you need a coach though. Sometimes I needed a coach. Everybody needs mentors to be around people. So good stuff.
Yeah. I see there's other channels out there like a Gary Vaynerchuk or Alex Hormozy, who are always just putting out tons of fantastic information and stuff. And it's not like they aren't, there's not like they're making money off of it, but like it's just giving so much to people just out the gate from a place of abundance.
I agree with that. If you put out some of your best content, and some of it can't even be taught online, so you do the best you can, but you put out your best content, you'll just get new realizations. It goes deeper. Like I put out a bunch of stuff and I'm like, oh, let's see what happens next. Cause it's, do I have anything deeper? And then you get all this new deep information, just downloads into you as you do it. It's like wild. Yeah. So you could be updating forever. Facts. Okay. Also, I saw more comments came in suddenly. I don't know if there also could be this type of work. See, but it's really you who's making it happen. Anything you're doing. Consciousness makes everything happen, J-Mac. It's all virtual reality. If you believe, the more you go up on the emotional scale, if you're all the way up in peace and you're really open-hearted and there's no resistance, things just show up almost instantly with almost no effort. If you're down in courage, it's going to take more effort, but you're going to have fun doing it and you're going to have to step into the work. If you're below the level of courage, it's going to be a fight. So just remember, it's all consciousness making it happen. We think that the fight makes it happen, but we fight to feel the resistance, to process the resistance. When the resistance processes, then it starts showing up. Okay. I would be interested in speaking offline with you about the Open 7. Okay. Awesome, Charlie. Can you send just send if anybody's interested in that, just send an email to use support@truecourage.com or truecourage.io. So I'm sorry, support@truecourage.io, not .com. And today, and I'll check later today and get back with you. Okay, Charlie. So I'll look for a message from you later, Charlie, about that. And again, it's support@truecourage.io, not .com.
Yeah, I just put it in the chat too.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh, dude, I have a weird problem, but halfway through sex, I used to start that way, dude. In the early days of sex, oh my God, I'd go to have sex. The first time I had sex, I was like, I can't feel anything. I can feel stuff in masturbation, but when I go to actually have sex, I'm like, fuck, there's nothing. And I remember thinking, this is sex. I was so disappointed because I wanted to have sex so bad. I was so ready to have sex, and I felt nothing. I was like, this sucks. And I checked the next day with masturbation. I was like, nope, I still feel. So it's got to be something. And what I didn't realize at the time, and I can still feel it now, I would go up into my head because of some trauma, worry. I was really abused by women as a child. And so I go so up into my head the first time I had sex, I was scared of being hurt by the woman. I didn't even know that because I just walled off so much that my dick would just go, it would be hard as a rock, but I couldn't feel it. I was so disassociated. I was so dissociated from my body, from feeling, to be honest. I was the complete opposite of now, that I could even be punched right square in the eye and I just look right back. Yeah, I get a black eye, but but I'd be like, yeah, hit me again if you want. Like I'd be in martial arts class and we would go at it hardcore, beating the shit out of each other. I get black eyes, blowouts, and I was just like, let's keep going. And my teachers, I remember my teacher commented once, he said, dude, you're terrible at blocking, but boy, you can take a punch, you know? And I was like, I didn't know if that was a compliment or not. It was because I was so numbed out. But in sex, yeah, I had to do a lot of work to learn to feel my lower body, a lot of moving meditations on my hips, my cock, my ball, my perineum, microcosmic orbit. I would look into Enlightened Sex Manual and Multi-Orgasmic Man and learn to move subtle micro movements where you feel deep emotional pain in these parts of your body. It's hard to explain online. That's what I'm going to get. I'm going to create an online course for this eventually. But yeah, I'd say Multi-Orgasmic Man. It's really hard to teach quickly, but you can turn all that back on. It takes micro moving, like almost unperceivable movements where you feel the emotion and you keep the movements to keep your attention there, developing a relationship between the brain and the nerve endings. And then all the trauma comes up. And for me, there was tears, there was anger, there was rage, all kinds of stuff, all the way down to my balls, my perineum, and it took a while to turn back on. So hopefully that helps for right now. But eventually maybe I should create an online course training as part of the membership site just for that area of the body, or I walk people through it. That would be really good. How to approach a woman? That's a big, broad question, Tom. I've got tons of videos on it on YouTube. It really depends on if you're pulled back, if you're pushed forward. Are you open? Is your heart open? Are you grounded? I mean, really what it comes down to, if I was to say, is have your heart open and be grounded, but don't, the reason you got to be grounded so you're not needy. Feel a little bit of your stomach where your confidence is. Don't think very much, and learn to feel her more and relate to her emotions more and say less. What I mean by that is I can literally look into your eyes and say hi and really drop into my turn on and my stomach and my confidence and take you in. And that can feel good. Or I can be like, hi, my name is Brian. What's your name? And you think you're relating to the woman, but you're completely in your head. So it's really about the embodiment experience. So go through my YouTube channel, look at the videos, and look for a lot of these videos on being in your body, because that's what it comes down to. It's not an easy, without meeting you personally, it's not an easy question to answer in like 2 minutes. Because I give everybody different instructions depending on where they're at in their body. I have very little fear of female rejection as far as it affects my ego. I fear the perceived judgment of people around watching. Any advice? Go get rejected. If you really want to go at it fast, go up to women and ask them to reject you, man. Like do like 2 women a day for a month. Say, hey, can you reject me? I'm getting over my fear of rejection. Oh, you can, and encourage them, joke with them, and be loud. Say a lot of highs to people, beautiful women, as you walk down the street, even if you don't approach them. Like what I mean by that is you can wave and she could be 10 feet away. Hey, how you doing? You look amazing. And let everybody hear you. You could walk up and give compliments really loud in crowds, like walk through a crowd, find a woman that's talking to 10 people. This is the brutal way to do it, right? And if you do like 2-3 of those a day, and then you do like every weekend, you go out for an hour and do like 10 of them, 15 of them, you just pretty soon you're going to get over the fear of being seen. And I've yelled across the street to beautiful women just to, hey, you look hot, you look amazing, in front of everybody. Oh, she looks great, doesn't she? Talking to other people, doesn't she look great? And it wasn't about hitting on her. It was about me getting over my fear of what people thought of me. and waving, hey, how you doing? Saying hi to people, and opening my heart as wide as possible. Now, if that seems hard to you and you get in your heart, or if your heart's not open, it's just going to be abuse to yourself. So you got to make sure your heart's open. Definitely watch my videos on opening your heart. You need the heart open to be able to ground this shit out and to be able to heal. Do you believe there's not no, there's not really. The outside and the inside are both the inside. It's an illusion. The outside is created by the inside as a reflection of what you feel inside. And everything is being created by consciousness, which is what you are. And we're all one being. That now we're getting into deeper spiritual concepts, J-Mac. Good stuff. Okay, what was this last one here? Oh, I thought we were almost done again. I can just keep going, man.
Keep adding
I like it. How do you manage developing your positive reality and going after your goals that require tangible actions? Because this is a great question. I want to have topics on this, Glenn. Yeah. I teach clients. Stage one is developing your ability to enjoy your life exactly the way it is. Not hitting on women, not getting laid, not getting money, not getting your goals. Your main goal, always my number one goal, is can I enjoy my life the way it is? Messy room, clean room, money in the bank, no money in the bank. I have a woman to date tonight, I don't. And you can develop that ability. If you make that your number one goal, can I love life just the way it is, broke or poor, stuck or not stuck? A lot to do today, very little to do today, and this doesn't mean you feel great all the time. I can be sad and still like life. My overall life feeling is great. Even when that girl rejected me, I'm kind of bummed, but life is still good. When you can develop that ability, that's how you can develop a positive reality under negative stress. Then it's like you have a stressful day and you're like, well, law of polarity. If I have a stressful day today, there's going to be a good day around the block, around the corner. There always is. And this is how it works. So I worked. When I made that my number one goal, everything changed. So I have a video on these 3 stages, that one, and then you learn to go after goals and get rejected, get really good at being rejected. Then stage 3 is get really good at succeeding, because most people really take themselves out when they start succeeding. I have a client like that right now. As women start approaching him and are hitting on him more and more, and they walking up to him and telling him he's hot because he's gotten so grounded and present. He doesn't know what to do. He freaks out. He's like, I'm not used to this. And he runs away. But he worked so hard to get there. And he's like, yeah, I just want to run away from all the success. How to move from theory to practice. You got to take action. And then you got to release the part of you that thinks the action is doing anything. Like all the stories that come up from the action, release them all. Meditate, take action, meditate, take action, release, take action, stop, and get present again. Let it go all together. Right? And then take some more action, then stop and release and let everything that came up in your subconscious and your body go. How to find a mantra that mirrors you. That's a little bit of that's a really interesting question. XICX. I'm not sure how you say that, but that's a great question, because when we work on goals, I have something called the VAK goal process. I do have that online too on the YouTube channel, but basically that's a living document, and I release on every word in a statement I create. Let's say I create a statement for an intention statement for that goal. I am going to be worth my crypto is going to have a net worth of $10 million or more by the end of the year. Whatever. I release on every word to make sure there's no resistance to every word in the sentence. Crypto. Do I have resistance to the word crypto? Do I have resistance to I? Do I feel like the I is me, or do I feel like the I is greater than me, like consciousness? Million. Do I have resistance to million? Do I have an attachment to a million? Do I have attachment to 10 million? Do I have attachment? And I go through it on pretty much a daily basis. I cleaned up until the whole sentence. The goal is to get to a point where when I read that sentence, I get an endorphin pop. I get like, wow, it's making me buzz inside, and I feel it through here, and it tingles. And then I'll say it, and then I might read it for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes, and then I just let it go for the day. Like I had the radio on there, and I let it go, and I'll come back. And there's periods when I work on it, but I don't think about it in the background of my mind. I come back to it later when it's time. But I do that process with lots of different goals on a regular basis. It might take a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year. It depends on the goal, how much I got to clean up. But I'm constantly reading it, and then there's a lot of other stuff I add below that as I build that process out. But with time, you can take statements and words that you have a lot of resistance to and turn them into gold. And I always work towards the I am statement, the being statement. I want to get above any efforting, pushing, forcing in my goal. Like the goal is coming to me. In my mind, all goals are coming to me. They're chasing me. They're already in my reality. They're happening all around me, whether energetically on the non-physical. And so I'm developing that feeling that this goal has already happened all the time. And first I don't have it, but it grows into that. And when it grows into that, boom, it comes into reality. What do you say when you approach a woman? Oh, wow. Anything. Anything really. If you're in feeling, it doesn't matter what you say. Hi, or what are you up to? What are you drinking? I gave a guy once the assignment. He was in a lot of feeling, but he was bad at. He was having trouble with women because he would think too much when they were talking, and he'd push them away. So he'd approach in feeling. Women would lock in, and then when they started to talk, he'd go up and think, and he'd disconnect from them. And he'd lock in, disconnect. And he wasn't getting anywhere because the girls were confused. You could see it. And so I said, I just want you to walk up and say the most boring shit possible. Just ask, how you doing? What's your name? Where you from? What do you do? Don't think about things to say. And I said, but I want you to stick to that connected feeling based, letting them in energy. And he did. Nailed it. First approach, man. She locked right in. She loved it. And I told him, I said, I want you to invite her to come back to your place with her if it hooks, like right today at the mall, and hang out. And he did. He invited her, and he locked in. She leaned in. He leaned in. It was all connecty, and it was perfect. He was nailing it, and he was saying basic stuff. What'd he do? Where are you from? She was from Poland, I think, and he was cool. And he's like, you know what? I'm having a really good time talking to you. Why don't we get a bottle of wine and go back to my place? And he just let her in, and she looked at him, leaned in. She goes, I don't know. I have a boyfriend. And she goes, but maybe. And then he freaked out and ran away and came back. I said, why'd you do that, man? And he's like, I didn't know what to do. I wasn't ready for the success. And that's another common problem. We're not ready for the success. So an approach can be, it depends on what connects to you. If you have a statement you like to say, you truly feel in your body is fun, you can use it. But you have to learn that what makes an approach good is your ability to feel and enjoy your voice, enjoy the feeling in your body, and let her enjoy you enjoying that. It's about you feeling you and letting her feel that. Okay. So you could use a line. I used to say, hey, you look like trouble a lot. Hey, you look like trouble. But I enjoyed it. That was easy. I thought it was easy. It was fun to say, hey, you look like trouble. I get a reaction and I'd play with it. And then I realized it wasn't really the sentence. Right. And then I realized you can just say, hi, what's your name? And if you have the right look in your eyes and micro expressions and vocal tone, she'll be like, oh, he's hitting on me instantly. Or he's flirting with me instantly. Yeah, awesome. Glad I could help. X. I'm just going to call you X. Love seeing you live again, Brian. Got to go now. Awesome. Good having you, Igor. How to handle the tension and the energy tingles that come from practicing NoFap. We already kind of covered that. Did you miss it earlier? Let me know if you missed it. How many highs should you do if you're just starting out? I can do 10 highs in under a minute, probably, if I want to. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. No, I'd say 3 minutes, so it really depends on you. And I don't want you, it really comes down to calibration, because if you're turning it into a job and your heart's not open, you got to figure that out. So if you did 10 highs or a day, just but your heart's open and you're growing from them and you're learning to laugh and get your heart open, fuck yeah, do 10, do 25, maybe do 5 a day, 10 a day to start. And then maybe once on the weekend, go out and do 25, do 100. I used to do 100 in under an hour, pretty easy. Just rolling around, talking to everybody, dancing with people, laughing with people. I got really open. I got to where I could flow with people pretty easily. So by doing that, but I always calibrated. The goal was to walk away feeling open and like my heart's open, like I wanted more. I always wanted to walk away from the experience feeling like I grew and I wanted more, not like, oh, that fucking sucked, because that's the pain pleasure principle. You need to hit that pleasure piece. If you're doing stops, two is fine. But if you're doing highs, it's a lot more, right? Because highs are instant. Like, hey, how you doing? Nice jacket, compliment, nice hat. A stop is completely different. Hey, I'm going to stop and have a conversation with you. You're cute. I just had to talk to you. That's 2 a day is plenty. If you're going to do it every day. Get rejected is the best advice. Love it. Please don't delete this live. It's a long random one. It is all over the place. It's an hour and a half, but I don't care. Love seeing you too, Andreas. Awesome. Good having you, man. I think we're at the end here. We're going to end now. Let me read these last two. Is there any reason you decided to move from hypnotherapy? Hypnotherapy was me doing stuff to people. I wanted to teach people. Like I still do a lot of gazing work that leads to different states of consciousness, but I wanted people to expand their consciousness, not just put them under and give them suggestion. I wanted them to take charge of their mind and not have my suggestions in their mind. So I like doing trances, like bring them down, open their consciousness, open their heart, and then ask them questions that cause them to release and make their own decisions. So I still do a practice with a lot of my clients, but it's teaching them to take the power back versus me trying to do something to them. And that's really important to me. And I think that's the way it should be. Do people actually receive answers from their subconscious when asked? Yes. If they, and asking if they can release. This is something I have trouble with in time. If your mind is really thick and analytical, it's going to be hard. But as your mind gets more still, these realizations, these understandings, they all start coming up and you start getting intuitive hits. It's beautiful. Awesome. I'm glad you loved it, Thomas. It's great having you. You guys are awesome. We'll be doing more of this. We're going to be building stuff out. Glenn, hop in. Anything you want to say?
There was one comment you actually skipped over that I thought that really connected with me personally, and I thought could even lead to an interesting video. This guy says, I'm a musician, pianist / singer. It's easy for me to bring people into music, but outside of music, I just shut off. So what's going on? And I can relate to that one a lot myself. Like he's in his zone of genius. He's feeling good, but he tries to do something else in business or talking to people, and it's like lost world.
Yeah, because you're in your zone of genius. When I used to manage movie theaters when I was young, like 19, and I looked like the badass, confident dude running around, and I'd get all the young girls there attracted to me, and it happened to me. And then I'd leave, I'd become a wimp. But in that theater, that was my domain, right? And so you got to remember that when if you're in a space, there's familiar spaces and unfamiliar spaces. When you're in the familiar, something you've done a lot, you know who to be. You can really step into that power because you've built the personality of somebody that knows how to do that thing, and you've dropped into your body enough through the music. You can feel your body, you can flow. When you go to an unknown space, non-music, socializing, that's different because now your ego has too many unknowns, so it shuts down to protect itself. If you can learn to open that ego back up and feel the same energies you feel with the music, it's really not any different. But the ego doesn't know that. The ego's job is to protect you. So learning to translate that openness to the new place of being is a big part of growth. When we find a place where we can really open, maybe it's snowboarding down the top of a mountain and you look like a badass and you get off the mountain and you can't talk to girls, right? Or you can do 6 flips in the air and the girls are like, oh my God, and then you're like, hi, and that happens, but it's not, but if you can learn to start to carry some of that energy, like go do the thing, play your music, and then go talk to girls immediately and open up and keep that feeling. Take a conscious note of how your heart feels, your stomach feels, your legs feel, then go talk some more and then go back and play. Like say you're working in a coffee shop or something, playing at a coffee shop, playing on the street. That's what you want to do. You want to translate that feeling into other things and show your body that it's really not any different. Okay. That's one thing. So your zone of genius is where your passion becomes so great it bypasses your fears. So do you want to say anything else?
That I've also been working on. Like I'll get into the booth where I'm just, I've got my sound booth where I'll just go in and I'll just like sing or I'll do voiceover stuff, and getting more conscious about how my body feels when I'm just having fun, when I'm in this place where I'm feeling good doing what I'm doing. And you get to the place where you become so familiar with that feeling that you can almost like call it up. It's almost like flexing, not quite like flexing a muscle, but like I can go to that place the more familiar I become with it. And then I can carry that into other parts of my life. So the passionate, excited part of me,
Yeah.
when I'm singing, I can take that energetic part of me and go about other areas of my life.
Yeah, and this is true in releasing too. When I was stuck in wanting a lot with releasing, and I spent a good amount of time mastering what it's like to have an open heart and be encouraged, and I said, fuck this wanting shit. I'm not even going to try to release. I'm just going to master the feeling of being open. Then I went back to my releasing and said, am I in wanting or am I encouraged? It changed my releasing drastically, and the releasing took off. Right. Because I went and found, what is it like? When's the time I felt love from courage? When was the time I felt love from acceptance? And I would find these emotions in my body, these memories, and then I would clean them up. And I would remember, and then I'd throw away the memory. I didn't throw away the memory, but I'd move the memory and say, can I just feel this love? What does it feel like to just sit in love for no reason? I could do that. I can just be in love. I don't have to have a memory or an experience to be in love. Oh, can I just feel what it's like to have an open, courageous heart? Oh, I can do that too. And it became this thing where I was like, can I just master feeling curiosity for no reason? Oh yeah, I can do that. And that changed everything. So see, we're ending on a good note. I like it. By the way, that last comment, did you see that one, Glenn? I think a lot of people would like this one.
Psychedelics. Oh yeah. Value, pros and cons.
Yeah. I could bring on psychedelic therapists and we could have a conversation.
That's an interesting world.
I know a lot of psychedelic therapists. I've done enough myself too. So be an interesting conversation for sure. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Unfortunately, this video is shot at 720, so it's not going to be the 4K. Even though I paid for it, they only allowed me to shoot it at 720. Those bastards. I'm sorry about being late today, guys. It was still great. That was I couldn't get that out. Was it OBS to work? Yeah. But we got Restream to work, and they came through in the last minute. Great having Glenn here. Everybody send Glenn some love, because he's gonna make this channel rock for you guys. And check out his channel too. He's got his own comedy channels and his voiceover channels, and definitely put that back in the chat there, Glenn.
Yeah, okay. One more plug. You had to search for my username there.
Keep giving Glenn some love.
Especially if you like stupid internet shit posts and stuff. Yeah. That's my jam.
Okay. Okay, guys. Seeing if anybody was sending. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, good.
Yeah,
there you go. There's a thank you for Glenn. Joe. That's what I wanted.
It's been fun. I've loved this call, man. I'm getting all sorts of intuitive hits about stuff that we can make new videos about, and we've got a fantastic community here.
Yeah. That's the thing. The channel didn't grow to 1 million like it should have, but that's because I didn't put any work into it. I didn't do everything the way YouTube wanted it done. I didn't group videos properly. I didn't name them properly. I didn't do titles properly. I'm surprised I even had it. But what I got was really loyal students. I got clients that really want to learn, and eliminated the people that just want entertainment. And sometimes I get those people that want entertainment. They try to get me to create these short videos just make a video that's really short that teaches me what I want to know. And I'm like, you're not my student. You're not somebody that wants to be part of this channel, because that's not what it's about. So, for now, Aaron, we're going to create some new videos on grounding. They're not out yet, but we will be creating them, and some more updated videos. But for now, just look up, two things. Look up, grounding, look up Brian Bajan grounding, or the Fearless Man grounding. There's a video that comes up, very popular. And then look up, the body scan, full body scan meditation that I have online too. They're both on YouTube, and they'll go through that stuff. But then we'll create some new ones that are updated and all that, and you guys will be getting that soon. Okay, guys, I've got to go. This has been way too long. You've got a good voice. Listen to
He was asking me if I'm.
he
He was
me?
talking to me. He was asking if I was a bass or a baritone, and he's giving me resources to look
Mm.
into for more voice related stuff. So yes, I do sing as well as voiceover. So kind of
if anybody needs a voiceover actor, hire Glenn. So
I got my professional contacts on my YouTube channel if you go there too. So
yeah, exactly. So getting excited about women again is typically you got to get your if you got emotional trauma, you got to clean it out, releasing. If there's any hormonal issues, you want to fix that. If you got emotional trauma, it's probably causing the hormonal issues. Could also be diet, could be seed oils, but mostly it's going to be emotional. You're probably not relating to your body anymore, and you're probably pushing women away. So that's just the deep work that needs to be done. It's not an easy question to answer, buddy. It's I got to interview you a little bit or get to know you a little bit, get some more context. Big facts, no Andrew Tate shit or BS, excuse me. I translated your BS to shit. That's funny. Okay. But Andrew Tate lives in Romania, and I love Romania. So I've never seen him there. I go there a lot. I've never seen him. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Have a beautiful day, and we'll talk to y'all in the next video. How do I close this thing out? In stream.